All right, friends. So I literally just got back into my room. As you can see, tie is still on, suit is still on. I wanted to give my immediate, raw, unfiltered thoughts on what we just witnessed. I have made a point to not go on social media. I have not read a single thing. I don't know if you loved it, hated it. I don't know if you thought it was theater at its finest. I don't know if you thought it was whack. I don't know anything. But I'll tell you what I thought. First of all, it was a great night of fights. I enjoyed it. And I just want to say on a personal note, it's a big deal for me to work for Netflix. It's a huge, huge honor. Excuse me, I don't get to do these things very often, as you may know. And so anytime I get to do them, it's a really big deal for me. And it's a privilege and it's surreal. Being in the ring with Anderson Silva, who beat Tyron Woodley tonight, being in the ring in an arena that I would attend as a fan. I went to see Monday Night Raw at the Kaseya Center 2006. It's surreal. And then we'll get to the AJ post-fight interview in a moment. But you don't care about all that. I thought Anthony Joshua was going to win this fight. Anyone who asked me on the street, if you came up to me, you can attest to this. I said Anthony should win this fight. There is no reason for him not to win this fight. And I really didn't know if it was going to last 30 seconds or 8 rounds. And every time he threw a punch, I like winced, because he's a big man and he's an incredible boxer and he's still in his prime, and he's got a very long reach and he's got a lot of power in that right hand, and that left hook is terrifying as well. And so I thought it could end at any moment. And so because of that, I was captivated and enthralled, because I literally thought that he could take Jake's head off at any moment. So a 30-second knockout wouldn't have been a great surprise to me. The fact that Jake went 6 rounds, I think he should view as a moral victory. Sounds like he's proud of himself. Do I think it was the greatest fight of all time? Of course not. Was I expecting the greatest fight of all time? Of course not. Honestly, up until the walkouts, I was like, I can't even believe that this is still happening. I can't believe that this is a real thing that's about to, unfold in front of our eyes. There was a lot of pressure, I think, on Anthony's shoulders for 2 reasons. He's coming off a knockout loss. I don't think that was discussed enough in the lead up to this fight. When you are coming off a knockout loss, you are a little bit tentative, gun shy. You remember it, and he had not fought since then, and it was like 15 or so months ago. And so I think he was very worried about slipping on a banana peel, about screwing up for boxing and screwing up for his legacy. And then I thought that he was like headhunting a little bit, and that's not really his style, and he was swinging and missing, and I thought that was getting to him a little bit. Do I think he was playing with his food? No, there were a couple times where he was going to the body, and I was like, why aren't you going to the head? Why? Like, the head is open. Upstairs is open. And I was surprised that he wasn't going there. But, any of this nonsense, script, bullshit. Like, if you subscribe to that notion, you're an absolute idiot. You're an absolute idiot. There is no reason for, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world, partake in anything like that? Just use your brain. And MVP, too much to lose. You go to jail. Federal effing prison. AJ, like, for what? For what? He doesn't need it. He doesn't need more money. It's great, but to risk this? No, look at what's going on with the gambling. No way. There's no way. My respect for Jake has grown. I know people don't like to give him credit. You fight amateur, influencer, pro boxing. You have my respect. I don't care what kind of fighter you are. I don't care how many wins you have. You step through those ropes. You have my respect. He lasted 6 rounds. Most didn't think he would. I think the line as far as how many rounds was 2.5. So clearly most people thought he would be out of there around that point. And I think a lot of people were going with the under. He had some moments. He had the antics. Obviously the takedowns and all that weren't great. But golly, I think he was tired. The ring was bigger, and everyone said that was going to benefit him, the 22x22 ring. But, cardio has been an issue for him. And so when you're circling and dancing, you're going to get tired. You're going to gas out. And I think that happened. Arms were down, and he was getting pinned. He was getting cornered, and he was getting, AJ was doing a great job, I think, of not letting the fight be contested in the middle of the ring, cornering him either in the middle, like the turnbuckle, or up against the ropes. He was cutting him off perfectly. And so I know people are going to be upset that AJ didn't get rid of him earlier, but I think he was swinging and missing. He was trying to be cognizant of the fact that Jake does have some power, and he didn't want to screw up. But he found his openings, and he obviously disposed of him. Jake told me afterwards that he thinks his jaw is broken. He seemed very pleased. He seemed very proud of himself, and I think he should be. This is a guy who, for all you want to say about him, two things. He made his pro debut 6 years ago next month in Miami against a guy named Anisan Gibb. Could you imagine telling someone that 6 years later he'd be fighting Anthony freaking Joshua, who at the time was the unified heavyweight champion of the world? I mean, it's absurd. It really is. And look at what he's doing, not only for women, but for the sport. Netflix, guys like Anderson and Tyron, Alicia Baumgartner, Jamal Harvey, Keno Marley on the undercard. Shernika Johnson had a great performance as well. Caroline Dubois decides to leave Boxer to sign with him. Imagine that a year or two ago, to leave a UK promotion to sign with MVP. So I think they're doing great things. There's a big story that's unfolding as far as American boxing is concerned. Golden Boy's deal with DAZN is up at the end of the year. Top Rank still doesn't have a deal. Boxing needs these companies, especially here in America. American fighters need these companies. Who knows what's up with PBC and Prime? Doesn't seem like they're too much behind PBC Prime, that is. So you see a crowd like this. There weren't any influencer fights on these cards. There were there were 5 title fights on the card. So overall, I thought it was a good night. Everyone seemed pleased afterwards. There was some concern that Jake could get seriously hurt, and I think that's very fair. It appears as though he was in good spirits. I saw him afterwards, dapping up the fans. A broken jaw is no joke, but I have respect for him. I think that his stock should, either remain exactly where it was going into this fight or even go up. How do you not tip your cap to the guy? You and I, mere mortals, we take one of those punches, we're down, we're done, we're quitting. We're saying no mas. And he took a bunch of them and made it to the 6th. Again, prettiest fight, most entertaining fight, no. But I was captivated because I thought it could end at any moment. And then when he had those brief flashes, you're like, holy crap. Post-fight interview, surreal for me. Absolutely surreal. I have long admired and respected AJ. Him with his hands on my shoulders, looking into my soul. Felt like he was looking into my soul. Was honestly one of the highlights of my career, and a moment that I'll never forget, because he is so thoughtful, he's so candid, he is so honest with his emotions. And he didn't want to talk to us before the fight. I was told by his team he doesn't talk to anyone in the locker room. So I don't know if he felt like, hey, I owe these guys. I don't know if we have a kinship. Femi from Watford, I don't know what it was, but I enjoyed that immensely. And those are the moments that I dreamed of as a kid. Again, I don't get paid by any promotional company, work for the network. They are A+ first class. It is a huge, huge honor for me to do these events whenever I can. I enjoy them. And I think the obviously, the more seasoned and better and more accomplished and veteran fighter won. But I don't think Jake's stock goes down. He could still fight, the Furies and the KSIs. I would love to see that fight of the world, even the Darren Tills of the world. Like, I think that there is still very much a market. But obviously there's levels. And by the way, there are weight classes for a reason as well. He's a cruiserweight. He's not a heavyweight. But it sounds like he wants to keep going. And it sounds like AJ wants to keep going, although in a brief conversation with a member of his team, they said maybe this February date is too soon. He specifically mentioned Tyson Fury. Bypass that February date. Go straight to Tyson. I know there is a fight on the table for February, but again, that's why I hate when they announce these things before. You could get tired, you could get hurt, you could get, who knows, banged up. So let's see if that February date remains. I'm hearing it could be in flux. And let's see if his next fight is against Tyson. That's the fight that everyone wants to see. We don't need tune-up fights anymore. Make that fight next. Jake needs some time off. Maybe we see him back end of 26. Obviously, he's got a lot going on with MVP. And obviously, he has to heal that broken jaw. Much respect to both of them. Congratulations to AJ. Congrats to Anderson Silva. Alicia Baumgartner with a big win over Layla Baudouin as well. Jamar Harvey looked great in the opener. Again, Shernika Johnson, Caroline Dubois, Yokasta Valle. That was a really fun fight early on as well. Keno Marley and Avius Griffin. I think I got all the winners there. I hope you enjoyed it. Much love. Try to think of it logically and without any passion. A good night for the sport of boxing. And overall, I think both men should be proud of what they accomplished.
Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.